How can someone predict the future? And have almost nobody believe them? Imagine describing a world with wireless communication, remote-controlled machines, and electricity powering entire cities. Decades before any of it existed. To many people, those ideas sounded impossible. Some called them unrealistic. Others thought they were simply dreams. Yet many of those predictions would eventually become reality. The man behind them was Nikola Tesla. And his vision extended far beyond the world of his own time. Before we begin, thank you for coming back and spending a few moments with us today. History is filled with people who changed the world. But sometimes, the people with the biggest ideas are not fully understood during their own lifetime. Tonight's story is about vision, innovation, and a man who saw possibilities long before the rest of the world could imagine them. So settle in, and let's step back into history. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and join us for the next one. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in the small village of Smiljan, located in what is now Croatia. At the time, it was part of the Austrian Empire. His father was a Serbian Orthodox priest who hoped his son would follow a religious path. His mother, although she never received formal education, possessed remarkable mechanical talent. She could design and build household tools entirely from memory. Years later, Tesla would credit much of his inventive ability to her influence. In many ways, she became his first teacher. Contrary to one of the most common myths about Tesla, he was not actually uneducated. The nickname "uneducated inventor" comes largely from the fact that he never completed a university degree. But Tesla received extensive schooling and studied mathematics, physics, and engineering-related subjects. He was exceptionally intelligent. The myth persists because many of his greatest achievements came not from formal credentials, but from imagination and relentless self-learning. Even as a child, Tesla seemed different. He possessed an extraordinary memory. He could perform complex calculations mentally. And he experienced vivid mental images unlike anything most people described. Later in life, Tesla claimed he could build entire machines inside his mind. He would visualize every component, rotate parts mentally, test designs, identify problems, and sometimes refine inventions completely before building physical prototypes. Whether every detail of these accounts was exactly as described remains impossible to verify. But colleagues repeatedly commented on his unusual ability to visualize mechanical systems. Tesla's childhood was also marked by tragedy. His older brother, Daniel, died in an accident when Nikola was still young. The loss deeply affected the family. Some historians believe it also shaped Tesla's personality. He developed intense focus, extraordinary ambition, and an almost relentless desire to accomplish something significant. It was as if ordinary success never seemed enough. As Tesla entered adulthood, electricity was becoming one of the most important scientific frontiers in the world. Cities still relied heavily on gas lamps. Electrical systems remained limited. Engineers and inventors across Europe and America competed to solve problems no one had solved before. The future was being built. And Tesla wanted to help design it. After working in Europe, Tesla eventually emigrated to the United States in 1884. According to a famous story, he arrived carrying little more than a few possessions and a letter of recommendation addressed to one of America's most celebrated inventors, Thomas Edison. The letter reportedly described Tesla as a brilliant engineer. Whether every version of the story is perfectly accurate remains debated. But Tesla did indeed begin working for Edison. And that partnership would eventually become one of the most famous rivalries in technological history. At the time, Edison championed a system known as direct current, or DC. DC electricity flows continuously in one direction. It worked. But it had limitations. Power stations needed to be relatively close to customers because transmitting DC electricity over long distances was inefficient. Tesla believed there was a better solution. Alternating current. AC. Instead of flowing constantly in one direction, AC repeatedly changes direction. This allowed electricity to travel much farther with greater efficiency. Today, alternating current powers most electrical grids around the world. But convincing people of its value was not easy. Tesla eventually left Edison's company. Accounts differ regarding the exact reasons. Some focus on disagreements about compensation. Others emphasize technical disputes. Regardless of the details, Tesla became determined to prove the superiority of alternating current. The result became known as the War of Currents. The War of Currents was not fought with armies. It was fought with demonstrations, business deals, engineering achievements, and public opinion. Edison argued that AC systems were dangerous. Tesla argued that they were practical. Both sides believed they were shaping the future. And enormous financial interests stood behind the debate. Because whoever controlled electrical infrastructure would influence industries, cities, and economies for decades. For a time, Tesla's position appeared uncertain. His ideas were technically impressive. But technical excellence alone does not guarantee success. Investors worried about costs. Governments worried about safety. Businesses worried about reliability. Tesla needed support. He founded an entrepreneur and industrialist George Westinghouse. Westinghouse immediately recognized the potential of Tesla's work. Together, they pushed alternating current toward broader adoption. Then came one of the defining moments in electrical history. The 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. The event required a massive lighting system. Tesla and Westinghouse won the contract. When thousands of electric lights illuminated the fairgrounds, visitors witnessed something extraordinary. For many people, it was their first glimpse of what large-scale electric power could accomplish. The demonstration transformed public perception. Soon afterward came another historic achievement. Niagara Falls. For decades, engineers dreamed of harnessing the immense power of the falls. Tesla's alternating current system made that dream practical. Electricity generated at Niagara could be transmitted across long distances. The project became a global symbol of technological progress. And it confirmed what Tesla had argued for years. The future belonged to alternating current. Most inventors would have been satisfied after changing the world's electrical infrastructure. Tesla was not most inventors. His imagination constantly raced ahead. The moment one challenge was solved, he became obsessed with another. He experimented with wireless communication, high-frequency electricity, remote control systems, radio technology, and countless ideas that seemed futuristic even by the standards of his own era. In 1898, Tesla publicly demonstrated a radio-controlled boat. To modern audiences, remote-controlled machines seem ordinary. To people watching in 1898, the demonstration appeared almost magical. Some spectators suspected hidden operators. Others believed tricks were involved. The idea that a machine could receive instructions wirelessly seemed unbelievable. Tesla had already begun imagining technologies the world would not fully embrace for decades. His fame grew rapidly. Newspapers covered his experiments. Audiences attended lectures in large numbers. Investors sought opportunities. And Tesla became one of the most recognizable inventors in the world. Yet success brought new challenges. Because Tesla loved invention far more than business. This difference would shape the rest of his life. Some inventors excel at building companies. Others excel at building ideas. Tesla belonged firmly in the second category. He often focused on possibilities rather than profits. On what technology could become rather than what investors wanted immediately. As a result, several ambitious projects consumed enormous resources without producing quick financial returns. Investors became cautious. Funding became difficult. And Tesla's later years grew increasingly complicated. One of his most famous unfinished projects was Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla envisioned a revolutionary wireless communication system. Some accounts suggest he also hoped it could contribute to wireless power transmission. The project remains one of the most debated chapters of his career. Certain elements reflected scientifically sound principles. Others remain controversial and speculative. What is clear is that funding eventually disappeared. Construction stopped. And the tower never achieved its intended purpose. For many observers, it became a symbol of both Tesla's brilliance and his tendency to dream on a scale few investors could support. As the 20th century progressed, Tesla's public prominence gradually faded. New inventors emerged. Industries evolved. Attention shifted elsewhere. Meanwhile, many technologies influenced by Tesla's work became so common that people stopped thinking about their origins. Electrical grids expanded. Motors powered factories. Alternating current spread across nations. His ideas quietly became part of everyday life. Tesla spent much of his later life in New York. Although respected by engineers and scientists, he often struggled financially. The contrast was striking. A man whose innovations helped power modern civilization lived far more modestly than many industrialists who benefited from those same technologies. Yet he never stopped imagining. Never stopped thinking about the future. Over time, stories about Tesla grew larger than life. Some portrayals transformed him into an almost mythical figure. Others credited him with inventions he never actually created. Separating fact from legend is important. Because the real Nikola Tesla does not need exaggeration. His verified accomplishments are already extraordinary. Historically documented contributions linked to Tesla include major advances in alternating current systems, induction motors, transformers, electrical transmission technologies, wireless experimentation, radio-related developments, and high-frequency electrical research. These innovations helped shape the infrastructure of the modern world. Not through a single invention, but through an entire network of ideas. Tesla died in New York City in 1943 at the age of 86. At the time, he was respected but not celebrated in the way he is today. That recognition came later. As historians revisited his work. as engineers acknowledged his influence. And as society increasingly realized how many modern technologies depended on principles he helped pioneer. Today, it is nearly impossible to imagine modern civilization without electrical systems based on concepts Tesla championed. Cities, factories, hospitals, transportation networks, communication systems. The impact reaches almost every aspect of daily life. Millions of people benefit from his ideas every day without ever realizing it. That is often how transformative inventions work. Once they become part of the world, they begin to feel inevitable. They are not. Someone had to imagine them first. Perhaps that is what makes Tesla's story so fascinating. Not simply that he was brilliant. History contains many brilliant people. It is that he repeatedly looked beyond the limits of his own era. He imagined possibilities long before society was ready for them. Wireless communication, remote-controlled devices, global electrical systems. Technologies that sounded impossible. Until they weren't. The people who doubted Tesla often focused on what he lacked. A completed degree. Business instincts. Political influence. Financial stability. They saw obstacles. Tesla saw possibilities. And that is why his story still resonates today. Because a young inventor from a small village dared to imagine a future no one else could see. A future illuminated by electricity. Connected by invisible signals. Powered by ideas that sounded impossible. Until the rest of the world finally caught up.